And then the way that he moved the wrist is going to help kind of square the face. But so that's something that we would want to change. Normal amount of tilt, that's potentially going to hurt your wrist, especially at the swing speed that this guy's swinging at. So now when it comes to controlling the face angle, what's up guys, it's your favorite QB coach, and give me 6 months of your time. I'll give you the best golf swing of your life. So welcome back to the channel. In this particular video, we're going to be reacting to another Bryson DeChambeau video. This is going to be him teaching this long drive player who's going to be competing in a long drive event. That player is struggling with a pretty big hook issue currently. The ball's curving too far off to the left. So if you're interested in long drive, hitting the ball further, as well as, how to cure the hook, this is the perfect video for you. Let's go ahead and jump in. But before we get into the video, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, that is Kiwi Golf Japan. If you did not know, YouTube definitely does not pay the bills. So if you want to help support this YouTube channel, after the video is over, there will be a link down below. Click on that link, sign up for the Kiwi Platinum membership site. Not only are you going to help support this channel, you're also going to get access to 340 videos, and we post roughly right around 20 new videos every single month. So with that out of the way, let's jump in. DeChambeau teaching these long drive guys.
Hope it helps. When I was on my fastest, the ball was super far up and away. It was definitely not back.
All right, let's stop it here and give you guys a little bit of context before we dive into the video. So this is going to be Martin, the long driver. Obviously, this is Bryson DeChambeau. Martin is about to play in a long drive event. Like I said in the intro, he's struggling with the hook. And so this is going to be a lesson that DeChambeau is giving to Martin in hopes to give him some type of swing motion position, some type of feeling, so that Martin can kind of eliminate the hook to where he's not so worried about it. However, the caveat is we still need to maintain speed, right? So how can we cure the hook while not decreasing speed? That's kind of the main point of the lesson. Let's go ahead and jump in.
Yeah. Every time I want to hit it harder and harder and harder, I just keep moving it up. Now people would think that, it's going to go left, which yes, that is my air, and that's what I see most of the time. But when I was able to get to the left side and then push off of that, I started hitting it straight and getting more speed off.
I mean, you can counter that by just aiming a bit right. That's okay.
Yeah, I try to move the shoulders and the body. Just trying to adapt to this a little bit. I want you to put it super far back in your stance now. So everything's still a draw.
Yeah.
What does that say?
My face is shut towards the
path. Face to path is still the same.
All right, let's stop it here and give you guys some context. So I'm assuming at this point in the lesson, I think maybe Martin was saying, I'm struggling with the face close to the path. Maybe if I put the ball position more back in my stance, that could potentially open up the face more, and then maybe I'll minimize some of that draw. So then DeChambeau probably told him, okay, go ahead and try it. And then what ended up happening was Martin still ended up hitting a draw, right? Because what ended up happening is club path, yes, it might have shifted more to the right, but the face angle didn't shift enough more to the right to where it kind of got the face to path at a lesser amount. So maybe let me explain that for you guys who are beginners out there. So club path is typically measured when you actually hit the golf ball. So what direction is the sweet spot traveling at that moment? Face angle is going to be where the face is pointed at that same moment as well at impact. So I'm assuming Martin, based off his swing type, maybe before this, his club path was like +5, face angle maybe +1. At his club head speed with that 4-degree face to path that's closed, that's probably going to produce a pretty massive hook for Martin because he's swinging so fast. So then from there, if he plays the ball position more back, yes, maybe he gets the face angle a little bit more open. Maybe the face angle is at +3, but then the path should typically also shift as well, maybe to +7. And you pretty much have an identical face to path that's 4 degrees closed. All you've done is just shift the direction of it a little bit more to the right. So it starts a little bit more right, but for the most part, you're still overdrawing the golf ball. So the face to path is the issue. How can we minimize that number so that we have less curvature, less spin axis tilt, so we can get all the good stuff that they want out of this lesson?
Yes.
If anything, if you move it up in your stance, you should technically be cutting it. So
let's stop it here. So what he's talking about there is if you move it up in your stance, it's kind of the opposite of what we just talked about when in terms of moving the ball position back in your stance. So that just means that if you move it up in your stance, theoretically, the club path, let's say if you started at +5, if he keeps the same direction of swing and low point, that means that the club path should be less than +5, maybe closer to +4, +3, maybe even +2, depending on, how much he moves it up, as well as what he does in terms of compensations in the swing. Now, the issue with that, though, in terms of Martin's case is he has an issue with flipping the toe too much. So if he moves the ball position up, he might shift that club path a little bit more to the left, but the issue is his facing will probably also be more closed. So we're going to have the same issue. The face to path will still be -4. He'll still be curving it too much, All you've done is just shifted the direction of the swing or the club path a little bit more left, but for the most part, it didn't cure the issue, right? So that's going to be kind of the whole route they're about to take right now.
So normal golfers, right, what do? They definitely don't do this. Normal golfers flip it and they throw it.
Yeah.
But when that happens, the face is actually going more outside or open. It's definitely not squared out. It depends on who the player is, obviously.
Yeah.
99% of the people, when they move it up in the stance, probably like 90% of people, move it up in the stance, they're going to start the ball left, but it's going to cut.
Yes, because the face is open, but that's not how I play.
So Martin just said exactly what I said. So let's hear DeChambeau's response.
I know.
My face is shut because I'm way too quick.
I know.
Yeah.
And so my point is how can we move the hands in a way that allows it to stay square longer but still achieve speed?
Yeah.
Because like I see your left miss and it's like, I can fix that, I can help that.
Then give me a two.
So it seems like one of the first iterations that DeChambeau is going to attempt to do is maybe try to shift the path as well as shift the face angle based off what he just said. You know, it's not very clear because I think a lot of this might have been edited out, but I'm not quite sure if that's the first iteration cycle he's trying to go for. Shift the path a little bit closer to neutral as well as trying to shift the face angle, and that's where they're going to start. Or are they just going to try to shift the face angle? Again, it's unclear just because of the way this has been edited so far, but let's continue and see what they have to say.
Solution.
I'm trying to have you understand what's going on.
Yeah.
First.
Okay.
I can tell you exactly right now what to do.
Tell me.
Okay? It's flipping the left wrist and holding the elbow out. It's literally going like that.
Yeah.
But that's going to hurt the wrist.
Okay, so what he's done there is very similar to what DeChambeau has done. So basically making sure this elbow at impact specifically is kind of pointing out this way, almost parallel left to the target line. And then the way that he moved the wrist is going to help kind of square the face. But what you do here is if you put the arm in this fashion, you kind of move it to its in range of motion of what DeChambeau likes to put. So basically it's kind of locked in place to where the forearm can only rotate to that position and it can't rotate more than that, which just simply means it'll be more difficult if you set up that way to get the toe to close too much. So DeChambeau is saying, you know, could be the way that you do it. However, the issue is this could hurt the wrist potentially. So what would be something else you could add to this to where you could still do this and not hurt the wrist? So I'm assuming maybe at this point, this is the first kind of iteration that DeChambeau is going to try to teach to him. If it doesn't work, he's going to move on to a different feeling.
That's why you do this, right?
Yeah.
That's why you do this.
Yeah.
So one of the ways to solve for that is to feel like when you're throwing this through, your shoulders are more right side bent. I want you to drop the right side and push I want you to slide the hips. And it's got to feel comfortable doing this. So you can
Okay, so you just kind of got how you can actually go ahead and add to this. Now, I don't know if I necessarily agree with this. I haven't really necessarily tested this out, but apparently if you kind of get the elbow into the fashion that DeChambeau likes it and then move the forearm here and then move the wrist the way he was talking about, which would make it very difficult for the toe to close. You know, apparently if you have like, let's say a normal amount of tilt, that's potentially going to hurt your wrist, especially at the swing speed that this guy's swinging at. So if you tilt your shoulders, that should make it a little bit less, put a little bit less pressure on the wrist and maybe not hurt it as much. I personally don't know if that's actually true or not. I haven't really tested it out, but let's just take DeChambeau's word for it and then see kind of how it works out for this particular player.
By the way, every time I tell anybody anything, it has to feel comfortable. That's why I go through multiple iterations of certain things. And I'm trying to get him.
Yeah, so this is something that I really like that DeChambeau is doing, and this is what I think a lot of great instructors do. Basically, they just introduce a specific feeling to, you know, solve a certain issue that client has. But then, you know, at the very beginning of the lesson, you should be very clear that, you know, this is just a specific feeling that might not work for you. I have a bunch of different feelings we could try out. We're going to see which one that you perform the best with, as well as feel the best in terms of being able to repeat it. And then whatever one that is, that's the one that we can stick with. So that's a really good teaching style that I feel like a lot of people don't actually do.
Kind of normalized by hitting different shots, so he's not worried about where it's going at. I'm just trying to have his body mold around what I'm teaching him.
That's something we like to talk about as well, right? So take away the result of ball flight as being, did you do it good or not? And more so replace it with the motion. If you did the motion, that means it's good. If you didn't do the motion, that means it's bad. If you did the good motion and you topped the ball, it doesn't really matter, right? At this point, we're just trying to do the motion first, and then from there, we can judge if it's good or not once we're actually doing the motion. So we call that the $1 million game. What if I told you I'd give you $1 million? All you had to do was do the motion. You could top it, duff it, miss it, all that good stuff. As long as you do the motion, you'll get the $1 million. That's kind of the mindset you have to take when you're initially changing.
As you're going to your left-hand side, your right rib cage is just dropping down in your right hip. So that's where you side bent but your weight was not.
Okay, let's stop you here. So I'm not going to necessarily react to what's been going on so far, but what I do want to tell you guys at the very end of this video, I'm going to give my personal opinion on what I see about this player's golf swing and kind of his issues. I'm going to break it down with some charts that you guys can kind of see the entry and exits, as well as what DeChambeau is about to talk about something else. You guys will be able to see that as well. Because I do think that there could have been an alternative way that you end up fixing the face angle that would have been a lot easier for this player. But anyways, that's just my personal opinion. We'll leave that for the end of the video. Don't you worry, you guys will be able to see that.
On the left-hand side.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to create right now is an ability for this club moving through the golf ball in a line, not an arc.
Basically, what you want to do, you want to increase the radius of the arc.
Yes,
Because you cannot make it a straight line. But
All right, let's stop it there. So let me kind of explain with the whiteboard exactly what they're talking about here. So if you can imagine kind of from the ground level view, here's the tee, here's the golf ball. This is kind of what they're talking about in that last section. So currently, I think Martin's main issue that DeChambeau is trying to address is that his playing is a little bit too much kind of this way at this current point. So the arcing up amount is too sharp at this current point, which means he's hitting a lot of shots low in the face. He's also probably hitting a lot of heels just because the direction of swing is quite out to the right, which I won't talk about now, but definitely something I see him do. So DeChambeau, like we don't necessarily want to do that. We want to have the feeling that we're getting this overall plane much, much more leveler as we go through the golf ball, which I actually do think is great advice. Now, the way and the motions that they work on to try to get to that, I kind of disagree with, and I think there could be a better approach. But for the most part, that's what they're trying to talk about in that particular section. They're trying to level out the plane or level out that arcing amount so that he can actually start to get strike a little bit more consistently, high to low, in the right spot. Because that's really one of the main struggles right now is he's definitely struggling with low strike and then also heel strike, which is a completely different angle, more so the bird's eye view. But definitely that direction of swing is getting too far right, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, that's it for you guys on YouTube, but before you guys click off, let me give you some quick wrap-up points. So now, when it comes to the overall structure of DeChambeau's lesson, I actually give it, a pretty good high score. There's not a lot of golf instructors who tell the client beforehand that they're going to try out a lot of different iterations or a lot of different feelings, and they're going to kind of switch from feeling to feeling until they find something that actually gets the results, but more importantly as well, also feels very comfortable for the client. So applause to him. There's not a lot of people do that, even though they're trained golf instructors who should know how to teach. For whatever reason, I don't see a lot of people actually talking about that. So that was definitely an A+. Now, when it comes to the understanding of what was wrong, also I think that was an A+. Overall, I think the issue was swing direction was too far to the right, which ultimately meant that the club path was too far to the right relative to where the face angle was to that club path. That created a face to path that was a little bit on the greater side, so maybe like -4. And if you have a player hitting the golf ball as far as he does, the golf ball is in the air for so long that it has more time to actually curve offline. So let's say a player that swings their driver at maybe 40 meters per second, if they have a -4 face to path, they might only be like 20 yards, 25 yards offline, versus if you guys this guy's maybe swinging at 57 meters per second, I don't even know, maybe even faster than that. He's going to have a lot more offline than 25 yards. It's probably going to be closer to 60 yards because the ball's in the air for so much longer. So the issue was that. So they had to figure out a way to get the swing direction, in my opinion, a lot more on the neutral side. Once they did that, that's going to get the overall kind of arcing as it approaches the golf ball a little bit on the flatter side so that they're not hitting so many shots low on the face. And that was going to fix the issue. Now, when it comes to the way that DeChambeau fixed the issue, I felt like there was actually a better way, which I explained in the membership video. So if you guys want to hear that way, definitely go ahead and sign up. But for that, that's the wrap up of this particular video. So make sure to sign up for our Key Platinum membership site. It really does support this channel. You'll get access to all those videos as well as this video. And then from there, you really help support this YouTube channel. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video.